Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of The Daily. It's Wednesday, November 9th, here with Andrew Wiebe. I'm Nick Firchau. And Andrew, we've been talking a lot about MLS Cup lately, but there's some big news as it pertains to the CONCACAF Champions League starting next March. All three MLS teams on one side of the bracket for the quarterfinals. That makes it a very good odds that one MLS team is going to make it through. We've got the LA Galaxy against Toronto FC and the Seattle Sounders up against Mexican side Santos Laguna. Which matchup do you like more?
Personally, I think the big one here is Santos and Seattle. Obviously, that will decide if an MLS team will get to the final. If Seattle can overcome Santos, which it must be said will be a big task. Santos won Group B, 13 points, most out of any team in the group stages, plus 10 goal differential. If they can win that, that'll be guaranteeing an MLS team in the final for the second straight year.
You have to assume that the LA Galaxy, on paper anyway, have the edge over Toronto FC, but you said it. The Seattle Sounders in the knockout stage for the first time. They're up against a very good Santos team that's had some success in this tournament before. The first leg of that tournament starts March 6th through March 8th, and the second leg, March 13th through 15th. You can find a complete schedule and the draw right here on MLSsoccer.com. Moving on, there's still some fallout out in Colorado. One of the teams did not advance in the CONCACAF Champions League. That's because Gary Smith did not re-sign with the club. We found that out on Monday. Gary Smith's been talking quite a bit ever since, saying that a lot of people got in the way of some of the personnel decisions for him and made some conflicts within the office. We also found out that John Spencer, the former Colorado Rapids striker who played so well there for so many years, and the current Portland Timbers head coach, not interested in the job.
No, Timbers GM Gavin Wilkinson came right out and shot those rumors down yesterday. Spencer will be remaining in the Rose City, led the Timbers within 4 points of the playoffs, and Gavin Wilkinson said Spencer told him that Colorado is home, but Portland is the home of soccer.
A lot of talent for both those clubs. You mentioned it, the Portland Timbers almost making the playoffs under John Spencer. And for the Colorado Rapids, Jeff Plush coming out and saying that they're looking for a coach who has MLS experience, whether that's an assistant or a current head coach. We'll have to see, but it looks like the Rapids are not going to try any new faces out in Denver. Moving on, the New York Red Bulls, there's some news there as well. Frank Roast, the designated player brought on mid-season last year to help shore up the goalkeeping. Sounds like he's not going to be back in 2012. Head coach Hans Bach is saying Frank Roast likely headed back to Germany. If that comes to pass, Andrew, that of course opens up a designated player slot. Where do you think the Red Bulls go? I
think it's more than likely they'll go with the number 10. It'll be the everlasting search for the Red Bulls. Of course, they're set up top for the most part. Thierry Henry, Luke Rogers, Juan Agudelo. Baki shot down rumors of Nicolas Anelka. It seems they'll go right back to the spot that's troubled them for years. Dwayne De Rosario didn't work out. Dax McCarty maybe hasn't got the skill set to be in that position, so we'll see. We'll go back to that creative midfield role.
You mentioned Dwayne De Rosario, Andrew. Obviously, that trade didn't quite work out for the New York Red Bulls. But Dax McCarty, one of the midfielders that they brought in maybe to fill that role, more of a box-to-box guy. So they're still searching for that number 10, that creative playmaking midfielder. It's going to definitely be one of the stories in the offseason for the New York Red Bulls. There could be another offseason story as it involves Tim Ream, the all-star defender, who came out on Tuesday and said that there has been some confirmed interest from famed EPL side Arsenal, and that he may train with West Brom over in England during the winter. We've seen Jurgen Klinsmann, the head coach of the U.S. national team, express a lot of interest in a lot of these younger players playing during the winter. We'll have to see how that one turns out. And there's also some news about Rafa Marquez, some discipline from the Mexican national team.
Yeah, Chipo De La Torre did not call up Marquez for the Friday friendly against Serbia for Mexico. Result of the extracurriculars, so to speak, following that LA Galaxy game in New York. So Rafa will not be a part of that. He did say, though, that he expects to be there for big games and spoken to the Federation.
One last thing before we go, we saw the Rookie of the Year go to CJ Sapong on Tuesday. We're going to see a couple more awards on Wednesday, perhaps the biggest one, the Visa Defender of the Year. It went to Jamison Olave of Real Salt Lake last year. He's up for it again this year, as is his teammate Nat Borchers. And Omar Gonzalez of the LA Galaxy. Who do you like?
I'm going to go with Omar Gonzalez. I think it's a clear choice. You saw Olave win last year, injury problems this year. Gonzalez anchors the league's best defense. They're in MLS Cup. He's been a rock all season. Easy choice there.
A lot of accolades for Omar Gonzalez and the LA Galaxy, who, of course, will play in the MLS Cup on November 20th. Find out who wins the Visa Defender of the Year later today on the site. And for all the latest headlines and coverage of the MLS Cup, stay tuned to MLSsoccer.com.